I've stood by it and we've waited for it to go green.
Well, it's the official start of this year's conference season. Ordinarily, these things are swarming with police, many of them carrying machine guns. I wouldn't like to hazard a guess as to the carbon emissions involved over there, but this way is a cleaner, better future. You are the one-man welcoming committee.
Good morning and
How'd you
welcome
do?
to the Green Party conference.
It rather shames me to say that this is my first Green Party conference, so I'm not quite sure what's what.
And 2 is the speeches, and then F's are fringes. So like there's, conference first time is how it all works.
Why aren't you in a hotel suite somewhere getting ready for your speech? That's what leaders do. Well, it's not every day you walk in a conference, within about 90 seconds you've met the party leader.
I'm in the Greens because I think there's nothing more important than safeguarding the environment for our kids and grandkids.
We all think that environmental issues are important, but what we really care about is making a fair society for everyone.
What gets you out of bed in the morning, green-wise?
Too many people live in poverty, too many people live in fuel poverty, and too many people are homeless.
The benefit cuts, so I got a letter through the other day saying my council tax benefit was going to get cut. So I'm currently unemployed, and it's the only party that's really making sounds of that.
You are proof that the Green Party has members in the north of England, then?
We do indeed, are thriving in the northwest.
Really?
No.
Got a long struggle, really.
Environment does not really go down very well on the doorstep in Wigan. And they tend not to associate the Green Party with politics. They associate us with environment.
So what's watermelon?
A magazine produced by Green Left, and it's called Watermelon because one of the criticisms of people say, you people, you're watermelons, you're green on the outside and red on the inside. And our response is too bloody right, mate.
It's almost a new Labour dress code you've got going there. Is that to confuse the enemy?
A little bit. All right, it's part of the whole pushing forward thing. When you look at it, a lot of the coverage we've got, it's been people bemoaning the beardies and the bad haircuts and the unwashed look. So I think just smart appearance can say a lot.
But do you think the Green Party's got enough of a sense of fight and urgency?
Young people definitely do, and I think that we're really changing it from the inside. I'm a member in Bristol, whereas before perhaps it was more about kind of a talking shop for people who really cared about issues but weren't necessarily aware of how to talk to the public. Now, we know how to win and we're taking it completely seriously.
This government, right now, how angry are you about what they're doing?
Oh, incandescent. I'm scared. I don't know that I'm angry. I am really, really scared. Because more than anything else, people are not standing up and fighting. We, in the 60s, I can't remember a weekend when I was out demonstrating.
I've been here a couple of hours and it all feels very nice and everyone's very well adjusted. They have great ideas and it doesn't feel very angry.
You wait till we get out there in the conference room. There'll be a lot of anger coming out.
Just look at the youth unemployment figures. Demonisation of benefit recipients. Labour is responsible. To restore the balance between workers and employers. To tackle the casualisation and the low pay, we can make a difference. Let's join me in making that happen. Thank you.
Well, not a bad speech once you got going, and that very green mixture. I'm talking in very radical, ambitious terms about Britain and the world, but in terms of the party's tactics being very modest and incremental and leaving open that question of when the great leap forward is going to come. The one thing you will notice, Natalie Bennett made reference to the people who aren't here but should be, and as far as I can tell, there are none of the major TV networks' political correspondents here. No Nick Robertson, no Tom Bradby, no Gary Gibbon. Which leaves politics as usual, as far as most people are concerned, in much the same shape as it ever was.
I struggle with that the whole time, but you heard from Natalie's speech what the key issues are that none of the other parties are addressing. And I think that speech would have had resonance far outside this hall with people that necessarily wouldn't have thought of themselves as Green Party voters.
Why aren't you the leader anymore? In the sense that you, to me, embody the Green Party's successes in recent years. Yet you're not doing it anymore. It feels peculiar.
If we're to get more electoral success, then we need more people to get known by the public, so that that there are lots of names. So that when you say the Green Party, you don't just say my name; you say lots of names, just like you would for Labour or Tories. So that's what this is about.
But isn't the reality of modern politics, which maybe was reflected in the Green shift to having a traditional leader, that for better or worse it is more presidential?
I think that there's certainly space for more than one person to be associated with the party, and I think it's important for that as well. Otherwise it gets said, well, she's all right, but what about the rest? Or
We all know the standard issue criticisms of the Greens. Maybe this is a party with a mixed up sense of priorities. Perhaps this looks like progressive politics at its most self-indulgent. But nonetheless, after 35 years of their history, the Greens are increasingly turning into a force on the radical left, driven by an energetic, enthusiastic young membership base. But here's the big problem. There are two big gaps in their ranks.
We're desperately weak in terms of involvement of BME communities and working class people as well, because the fact is you're not going to win people over but simply by saying, look at all our wonderful policies, we're right. You actually win people over by saying, look, we are the most robust and reliable allies that you've got. If you need people to be on your side, you've got us.
What I was offering as a slight difference was a strategic plan that was different from hers. Natalie will put her emphasis on electoral politics. I think we deserve more electoral success, but to do that, we need to take our responsibility to help move the mood of the nation, to help build a movement of ideas. And I think that means campaigns on the ground, that means more grassroots work.
I think the reason why I won is that I want to get lots of Greens elected up and down the country. For the next 2 years, I'm personally going to focus on electing lots and lots of other people. I'm not focusing on getting elected myself. And, I'm hugely ambitious. I have big aims for this party and really see this party being a significant force in British politics.
How much does it concern you then? That it's very, very easy for the Greens to be roughly where they are, tiddling along on 4 or 5% in the polls, having radical and interesting ideas. It's a little safety valve where the people who believe in that can get together and talk about it. But it doesn't threaten anything.
I mean, I talked in my election campaign about Syriza in Greece. They went from being a couple of percent, pretty well roughly where we are, to being very nearly winning government. So in difficult times, in times when it's clear we need change, then it is possible for change to happen very quickly.
That breakthrough for Syriza happened because the country was plunged into absolute chaos. Now, one of the things about British history is no matter how bad it gets, we never seem to get there. We're quite good at just muddling through. So does that present problems to you? In other words, complete social and economic meltdown is what you need and we're not going to get it.
Well, we don't have that in Britain, but what we have is the world's 6th richest economy, where huge numbers of people don't know where next week's rent's coming from, don't know where food to feed their children is coming from tomorrow. So it mightn't be meltdown totally, but there's huge numbers of people who feel insecure, uncertain about the future. Millions of people don't know they're going to be better off next year, in 10 years' time, and they're not confident about their children's future. So that might not be meltdown, but it looks like a situation that people are really going to want to change.
Do you feel any sense of trepidation about being a leader with the ambitions that you've got within British politics with an Australian accent?
Well, I think 11% of the British population is foreign-born, so it makes me a minority, but not a particularly tiny minority. And I think one advantage is that with an Australian accent, you're basically classless. And that, I think, is quite a useful thing, actually.
Until March, you were a Guardian journalist.
I was indeed.
And you're now the leader of what in England, I think I'm correct in saying, is the 4th political force. So there's hope for us all.
There is indeed.